Yo, yo, yo. Welcome to NS9 Live. I'm your host, Anthony DiNardo. With me, of course, we have Jim. We have Tyler. What is going on, everybody?
Happy Wednesday night.
Yeah, I'm a little bit toasty here, boys.
You're toasty.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I got burnt.
Oh, so I got a little bit of sun today too. Like mostly on the left side of me. So I should have switched spots with you, just so it got my good side.
Yeah,
non-burn side.
I kept rotating throughout the game because one arm was getting just roasted and the other half as pale as can be. I tried to mix it up. The right leg's getting a little bit burnt here, so we're working on it.
I'll say this though, I don't think no embarrassing, burn lines or tan lines or anything like that. I don't think. It's just a little bit.
I have failed you all. I apologize.
Tomorrow's a new day.
Tomorrow is a new day. No, but I mean, it's funny because we're calling you the puppy dog this afternoon because you just wanted to keep going out in the sun, and then hours later you're just trying to avoid the sun. Maybe you should have just done that a little bit earlier, and you could enjoy the rest of the day.
No, I actually did everything correct because I went into the sun in the morning when it wasn't like 78 degrees out. It was like 67. It was beautiful, not an ounce of wind. I was like a golden retriever. Every time I saw a sunspot, I just went to sunbathe. And then when it got hotter, I got underneath an umbrella. I'm a smart fella.
That's what it is. But no, hey, it is Wednesday night. We have watched 3 Pittsburgh Pirates games. It's been a great time. And like the trip's really only halfway over. I know there's only one more game left for us to do, but like there's still Thursday, there's still Friday. We go home Saturday, so like it's been a very pleasant trip. I've enjoyed myself here. Hi, Cody.
Yeah, I mean the one.
I was waiting.
The one.
Steph says hi, by the way, too.
Hi, Steph. The one thing is we're gonna miss Skenes. That kind of sucks. No Skenes appearance. His start got rained out on Monday, and then he's gonna be starting on Saturday in Sarasota. So yeah, we're gonna miss Skenes, but outside that, we've seen some okay baseball at times, some good baseball at other times. I really wish we could see more offense while we're down here, to be honest, especially out of the starters. I feel like all the scoring that we've seen so far has been out of the reserves. We're not really seeing the starters do a whole lot, and it's like, come on, guys. I know it's early in spring training, but hey, we're only here a week. We want to see you guys do some stuff.
I jokingly said, the first day it was like, of course we always keep talking about it, like spring training stats don't matter, and on top of it, guys, like it's Bradenton, the wind's blowing out, like all these home runs that are happening, like it's not gonna happen. We've had one. It was today, and it was Gorski. Well, I guess technically 2. Jack Swinsky hit it in the other stadium as well. But yeah, like where's the offense, guys? I know it was gonna be bad. It's the first week, I get it, but like yeah, we have seen no offense really from anything. The pitchings look good, but no offense.
Yeah, it's exactly what we expect out of the Pirates this year. It's been very good pitching and limited offense.
Limited is a stretch.
That's true. I wonder if there and I wonder what we'll get to it in our over-under show, but again, it's super early, but like, yeah, where's the power at? Like, we haven't seen a single home run hit by a guy, I think, who's projected to be on the 26-man roster. I don't think we have. All the homers have been Gorski, Stewart, Jack Sawinski. So like that's none of those guys are probably gonna be on the team to start the year. I mean, there's a couple of people with outside shots, but yeah, I mean, none of those guys are projected to be key contributors. So, but first, before we get into anything else here, let me tell you guys about Bet Online. It's the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for online betting in 2025, like futures bets when it comes to homers. Whether you're a seasoned fan or a first-time bettor, Bet Online is your ultimate game day companion with the largest selection of odds on everything from NBA and college basketball to the NHL and UFC. Bet Online continues to be your number one sports betting source. From every three-pointer to hat trick, Bet Online has you covered with odds, stats, and more for every game, every play, and every win. Bet Online, the game starts here. That reminds me, I think last year, Leonardo, you set the over-under at home runs. I think like 190 something.
Was it 190 or
150? I think you had it super high.
I mean,
and I remember it being so high that I was like, there's no chance this is getting hit. I would like you to go ahead and set that again this year because I don't see where the homers are going to come from this team.
Well, I am not saying at 190. Now, again, let's take us back a year, Jim. Jack Swinsky was coming off. Henry Davis was coming up. I mean, it was like, hey, there could be power. O'Neal Cruz. I mean, there's certainly hope and hype. Even Rowdy could be a bad player, but hit 20-some home
Brian
runs.
Hayes coming off of his best
Brian Hayes.
offensive
I mean,
season.
yeah, 190. Hell yeah, let's feel them vibes. It's optimistic season. 190 home runs. This year, I might set it at 87.
At this point, they're going to need Matt Gorski to hit 60.
Right.
He is leading spring training in home runs right now.
He is. We just need to play Baltimore every game.
That's a good point.
Yeah, that's not going to happen either. So I don't know. And not even Baltimore. Baltimore's like, AAA team.
B team, yeah.
Great.
But anyways,
We could I think it's the Norfolk Tides are their AAA team. If we just played the Norfolk Tides every game, Matt Gorski would be an MVP.
I think we could talk Manfred into that.
Is there something?
Yeah,
That's what we should do.
yeah, like
We're
that.
owed it as a fan base.
Right.
I feel like we're due.
And then maybe playoffs.
Yeah, and while we were just give us Ohtani. Dodgers can pay the deferral. We'll have the salary right now.
I'm cool with that. Yeah. I
We
mean, we
just
don't
fixed
need him. We
baseball.
have Matt Gorski. So,
True.
like, you don't need Ohtani when you got Matt Gorski.
Anyways, this is going bad.
Yeah.
this is why we're here. But no, so I guess let's talk about baseball. I mean, we had Baseball is Dead there. We had Dallas Braden down there. We talked a little bit. Jared Carrabis, they gave us some bites. We'll give it to you guys here shortly. But yeah, I mean, again, it's the first week of spring training. You're only taking so much. We knew the offense would be very limited. You thought the pitching was gonna be good. So far, that's exactly what you're seeing to some level. But again, like it's the hype of optimism and hope right now, right? Like, if this can go well, then this is how this team can be good. And again, like so far, Brian Hayes looks healthy. Brian Hayes is producing a little bit. Henry Davis so far is producing a little bit.
I was going to mention that if there's like the one guy that I'm kind of seeing where I'm turning the tide on, because I really wasn't expecting much from him going forward. If you got something cool, but Henry Davis has been impressive this spring to me. Just watching him, I've been watching him catch a lot in particular. He looks like a catcher. Like everyone who's been saying, maybe we should try him out at first base or try him out at right field. There's none of that. Like Henry Davis is a catcher, and he looks like a catcher this spring. I haven't noticed him being bad back there, and I've noticed him do some good things. So that's pretty encouraging. He had a big day at the plate today. Had a really nice day on Saturday as well. But went opposite field too on a fastball, smacked a double into the right field corner today. Hit a couple fastballs today, I think. But yeah, I mean, so far so good out of the guys who you really want to see take that step forward.
I agree.
Yeah, and I mean, it's all going to come down to the bat with Henry Davis. That's really the only thing that matters with him. The defense at this point, you've mentioned it, Jim. It is getting better. I'm one of those people that do think he's probably more suited for maybe a first base, but for now, I am okay with him catching. One more thing to mention, Joey Bart as well. Alex Stump from MLB.com just wrote an article about Joey Bart as well, and some of the things they've done with him behind the plate. You're seeing some of that with Henry Davis as well. Maybe one part of this team we don't give them enough credit for the last probably 5 to 7 years, they've done a really good job with catchers defensively. You look at a Jacob Stallings, you see what they've done with Joey Bart. Henry Davis's improvement, like there are a lot of guys who have gotten a lot better staff behind the plate.
Yeah, I mean, they know what they're doing back there, and it's something that they value. I mean, when they go out there and they target catchers, they target guys who can handle a pitching staff. They can call a good game. They can frame pitches. They can field the position. Henry Davis was the one guy where it's like, all right, we're gonna have to teach this guy to do it. But so far, he's been learning it from what I can tell. He made a nice play today on a dribbler in front of home plate, getting out quickly, making a good throw to first. He threw a runner out at second on a caught stealing on Saturday. Yeah, so far, like I said, very impressed with the way Henry Davis has looked behind the plate, not only at the plate, but behind the plate.
I mean, just to say, friend of the show, Jordan Comadina, he's been working with these catchers and such.
Jordan's doing a great job.
But he got the big promotion, and again, it's kind of shows well deserved. I mean, think about back in Stallings. I mean, Stallings was turned into a very, very good.
Jason DeLay as well.
And Jason, like you keep seeing this crop, and like again, we talked about last year. The biggest thing about Henry Davis was you didn't notice. right? And that was like in a good way. Like, hey, I don't notice that Henry Davis is a bad catcher. So like that's a good sign. Again, like the offensive lineman thing. Like you don't notice him, he's probably doing a good job. And so far, like you have seen the progression of him as a defensive catcher. But what we really need though is the offense, guys. That's what like truly matters. That's his calling card. Super early, we get it. But like Jim said today, going opposite fastball. I mean, that's the thing. It was pull heavy. So if you can get back there and start hitting the baseball, being a major league hitter, that's what's going to get this club somewhere. So far, again, like we're talking about, so far what you can see, so far so good.
Yeah, I'm with you guys. And one more thing on Davis last year, I do remember watching him take BP. And the first probably 10 swings or so, they try to go opposite field. Henry Davis really struggled with that last year, and it was just one of those things to make a mental note of. You mentioned the double today, going opposite field, signs of progression. Those are the things you're looking for in the spring, not so much the stats, those types of things and what they're building on.
Yeah, I'm still under the impression that Davis is going to be on the outside looking in when it comes to a roster spot. But if he keeps playing like he is, he's going to be back in Pittsburgh sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad you pointed that out, and I think he's probably on the outside looking in because of reasons some we've talked about. But to me, that's not what truly matters. What matters is what he does when he's in Pittsburgh. If that's in April or May, or beyond, like that's what truly matters and getting him right. And again, this is all a process. It's the beginning parts of the process. But so far, what we have seen, some solid progression. Like, I like what I see from him so far.
Yeah. So far, so good.
That's all you can ask for.
And like you said, Brian Hayes, kind of similar thing, situation. I mean, he looks healthy. You call it out today, this morning. He's hitting the ball more up the middle. Very limited sample size. Once again, everybody, we understand that. but again, it's like what you're seeing from him. So far, so good. Stolen bases. I mean, like that about O'Neal Cruz last year. That was like the one thing we're looking for with O'Neal Cruz. Like, how is he going to steal bases, in spring training? Like, how healthy that looks. And Brian Hayes, it's kind of the same situation. Like, he's the bad back and such. He's out there stealing bases already. So it's like he must feel pretty confident and comfortable to some level with the backs. That's something you like to see from him.
Yeah, and Hayes drove in a run today too. Runner on third, needed to put the ball in play, hit it hard. A really, really nice play made by the shortstop to get one out. But yeah, Hayes was able to beat the throw out at first, and get a run on the board. So yeah, he's had a good spring so far. He turned a double play today. Well, almost turned a double play today. Was a little bit slow on the turn at second. It didn't quite get it, but yeah, he looks good.
Yeah, and that double play right there, all near double play, kind of showed it because it was a ball that he had to back up on. The footwork's still there. He looks still loose, still nimble. Everything that you've seen out of Brian Hayes at this point, you like. Unfortunately, we've said this maybe 3 or 4 years in a row.
Yeah, that's true. It's one of those things where it's like, I'm not going to trick myself into believing that there's something there until I really see it through multiple months of the regular season.
Yep. And again, I stand on this from the very beginning. Like, I'm fine with Brian Hayes being who he was. I just want him to get to at least where he was. And again, the health thing is the biggest thing for me so far. Seeing him healthy, still in bases, shows again the health's probably there. So if he's a 90 weighted runs created plus, I will take that. I'm just hoping he can be the 90 weighted runs created plus Brian Hayes this year, playing 130 games, like you said earlier today, and not being the one who's playing 90 because he can't stay healthy and therefore his back's hurting his offensive ability, but then also his defensive ability. Like if he's healthy, he'll give you 3 WAR because of the defense alone. If he's not healthy, well, then the defense is also taking a slide, guys. So like just be healthy. That's all I want.
Well, and then it also just stretches your team thin when he's not healthy. Like when he's not there, then someone else needs to play third, and that player is probably Jared Triolo, which means Triolo can't be utilized in other areas where you maybe want a late game replacement at a particular position, maybe first base, for example. So Hayes not being on the field is a detriment to this team in more than one way.
Absolutely. And there's a couple. We talk about how this team has a lot of guys who can play a lot of positions. Jared Triolo being able to bounce around this diamond, IKF being able to bounce around this diamond, and we touched on that earlier as well with Nick Gonzalez playing some shortstop. Like you mentioned, Brian Hayes not being in there, it almost kills you. It really does. And Not to mention when he's even at his just baseline, he's a 3-win player. Not having that hurts bad enough.
Yeah. So again, Brian looking healthy. We didn't really not mention this too much. Going back to Henry Davis. Henry Davis is jacked.
Yeah, he is. He's a tank.
Yeah, I know probably a lot of opposing players gonna be afraid of Tommy Pham for certain reasons, but I'm afraid of Henry Davis right now.
Yeah, you don't want to get in a fight. Henry Davis doesn't seem like a guy you want to get in a fight with.
But he's a guy I want protecting my pitcher if they charge them out.
There you go.
There it is, buddy. Kind of sticking to the theme though, or talk about speed and stolen base and such, right? He hasn't played much. Derek Schoen came out and said O'Neal Cruz came to camp kind of sick. I can relate to that. But O'Neal, I'm persevering here, buddy. I'm playing every day. Just putting it out there. You're not the same. No, but he's starting off a little bit slow, not in as many games. But we talk about the first game he came up there and he stole a base. He stole second. The reason he stole second base was he beat out a throw to first, which guy's showing his wheels. Yes, he did get thrown out third, but I want to see him try to steal as many bases as possible. Something I want to bring up, and again, seeing this, we know the power he presents. What he did last year, the second half of the stolen base department, again, it looked like he was healthy, right? He was feeling more confident. Someone presented this, this question on Twitter to me like a few weeks ago, whatnot, but like the 30-30, right? Because the projections came out, they were more like 25-25-ish, and like, could he do a 30-30 season? Of course he can, right? But one thing I said was, I feel more confident in O'Neal Cruz having 30 stolen bases than 30 home runs. How do you guys feel about that situation right now? Do you think O'Neal Cruz can take off and have a huge season this year, like in the stolen base department?
Yeah, absolutely. He's 88th percentile in sprint speed, and that was his year coming off of the leg injury. You wonder if he's maybe even a little faster this year. But 88th percentile sprint speed in this day and age of baseball, with the new pickoff rules, the larger bases, you're seeing guys steal crazy amounts of bags. Ellie De La Cruz stole 90-something bases last year. I don't expect anybody really to get to that, but I don't see any reason why O'Neal Cruz can't steal 30 bases in a season. And honestly, maybe even pushing 40, to be real with that number. Mm-hmm. You saw how he eased into the year last year and then really turned it up when it came to how aggressive he was on the bases towards the end of the season. If he's that aggressive all year round, 30 stolen bases should be easy. 40 stolen bases should be within reach for him, for sure.
Now, I want to ask you guys a question. How much do you think moving to center field will help his aggressiveness on the bases? Do you think maybe he saves himself a little more when he's playing shortstop every day?
That's a good, rationally speaking, that makes sense. I guess O'Neal Cruz is just a different animal. I don't know if he thinks that way. It would make sense, like what you're saying, right? And that's how you rationalize. Well, he's in center field, he could potentially take more bases. But I don't think O'Neal thinks that way. That guy's just balls to the wall all the time.
Yeah, and I almost feel like it's going to have the opposite effect. If anything, I think he'll play more in the field this year than he did last year. You did see him get a few days off here and there at shortstop. I don't think we're going to see that much in center field, mostly because this team doesn't really have other center fielders. I think O'Neal Cruz is going to be out there in center field pretty much every day. And, Andrew McCutcheon talked about this, and I know he's quite a bit older than O'Neal Cruz, but just when you go to field your position, that's 9 times you got to run to center field and then come back into the dugout. That's just more running and more moving than a shortstop does. So I'm not.
That's spoken like a vet. I can relate.
I'm just saying,
26 like O'Neal.
I'm just saying, it's more. It's significantly more steps that you're taking over the course of a 3-hour span.
If we are worried about the amount of steps our athletes are taking while they're taking,
I'm not worried about the amount of steps.
I don't know what to tell
I'm just saying, if O'Neal Cruz is wearing his Apple Watch, right, and he's checking his activity tracker, his steps are going to be more this year than they were last year.
These are prime athletes we're talking about. We're worried
he's
about.
He's going to have a lot of steps
running to our position.
Yeah.
Every
again,
little
rationally
100
speaking,
over
that
160.
makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about
if you're a
162 game season.
37-year-old Andrew McCutcheon.
We're talking about 162 game season. I'm just telling you, over 162 games, it's a lot. It's a lot.
So what you're saying is the new inefficiency is finding a shortcut to get to center field, so you get fewer steps in
Yes.
between innings.
The center field cart.
What if we had a golf cart for position players?
What if we just let him hang out in the bullpen?
Or let's just have a team full of robots and there's just no human element whatsoever.
We're gonna-
Everybody's just programmed to play a certain way.
Jeff Bezos is
No.
going to have an Amazon drone pick him up.
Can
and
you tell
deliver
we've
him
been together for like
Yeah,
5
to
days now?
center field?
No, but I'm sort of serious here. Like it's going to be more steps, guys. And I don't care who you are.
I
More
appreciate
steps
the
is more
analysis.
steps.
Oh dear Lord! All right, let's move on. We can't talk about stolen bases anymore. But no, for real. So, like I said though, big thing about health, what you see in the first week. Again, like there wasn't a whole lot I feel like to talk about too much. Those are some things I wanted to pick up on. Anything else for you, at least on the offensive side, that you wanted to mention? I know we have some battles. We can get into that. But anything else, like in general, I guess.
I swear, if he says DJ Stewart,
Oh, we're talking about first base battles when we get to DJ Stewart, right? Well, are we going to hold off on the DJ Stewart, Matt Gorski talk?
Let's hold off on the DJ Stewart stuff.
Not Matt Gorski? Let's hold off on Matt Gorski too, I guess.
I think someone in the chat will definitely bring up Matt Gorski when they're available. We'll talk about it. I don't know, but yeah. Anything else offensively?
know that nothing else offensively has happened.
No, I mean, from like a prospect standpoint, like Johnny Severino looked good today at the plate. That was my first time seeing him in person. You saw him put up really good numbers in the minors. He's kind of climbing prospect lists. He seems like a guy who, moving to hopefully Greensboro this season, you look to put up some pretty good numbers, as most people do at that ballpark. But it was cool to see him today. Not particularly a small guy, kind of taller. Looks like an athlete, and like I said, he's still pretty young. So looking forward to seeing what he can do, because he looked good at the plate today, and his one at bat.
Looks like an athlete.
He looks like an athlete.
He looks like a not a good little ball player.
Well, he looks like he could.
Ball player.
He looks like someone who could handle a lot of steps throughout the day.
That's good to know.
Well, he's young.
Yeah.
10,000 steps, super easy.
Doug does that just walking the Publix.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, so to get to the pitching side, the pitching side has been good. We're coming off today. Bailey Falter had an outing, and we had the pregame show talking about. Then we had the postgame wrap up when you and Cody were talking about. And he looked fantastic. And again, I don't know if that's good or bad, because he was terrible last year and had a solid season. But 2 innings, 3 strikeouts, no hits. That's kind of been like the MO, I feel like. Again, there are only 2 innings for going here, but starting pitching has looked good from everyone. And not even that, like the relievers are coming in. I know, Tyler, you want to talk about a few here as well. But yeah, like the pitching has looked so far so good. Now, of course, it's spring training. Usually that's how the way things are, right? The arms are ahead of the bats. But again, right, so far, there's really not much you can complain about. Everyone's looking pretty solid out there.
Yeah. Falter looked good today. He was throwing strikes. Jared Jones looked good in his start. Debuted his new pitch. He loved the way it looked, so you got to feel pretty good about that. Skenes, we haven't really gotten to see in competition yet. I guess the only starter who's given up runs so far, Mike Burrows, gave up some runs in Atlanta today, gave up a homer to Matt Olson, and then Majinski got touched up in his second inning of work on Saturday against Baltimore. But I don't think any of us are anticipating either of those guys breaking camp in the rotation. Where I think we see Majinski more as a reliever, Burrows more as a depth piece in this rotation. But everybody who's slotted to be in this rotation has looked good, and they've posted up 0 so far.
Yeah, and to take it back to Bailey Falter, he looked just about as good as he could have looked. It's amazing how much 92 can play up with the extension. And I was a guy that last year I made fun of extension. I thought it was silly. It makes sense. You see 92 from Bailey Falter up in the zone. It plays like it's 98, 99. He's really honed in on the ability to locate that pitch. I think he just locked up his spot in the rotation already.
Yeah, I mean, you bring up the extension, and like I don't know if I would consider it silly, but I was just like, it just seemed like they were all in on that. You know, if you had extension, like that's the guy. It's like, I mean, there's more to pitching. There's just extension guys. And regardless, like there was more to pitching than I thought Bailey Falter could bring, but he seems to be doing it. And today, again, a nice solid outing here. But I want to go to is some relievers also, because that's like there's a lot of intriguing relievers. Someone from the chat, Mesa, looking pretty good. Santana coming from last year. I mean, they got him. He was DFA'd from New York. They bring him in, and he was basically the best reliever since like that first outing he had. I think he gave like 6 earned runs. I mean, his bat is one of his first 2 appearances. But then after that, again, he was like the best reliever. He's looking super efficient, by the way. Nice, Cody dubbed here. We got dope, right? The Department of Pitching Efficiency. So we got that going on, but it's like a lot of the guys that are in like battling as well so far, looking really good. That if you can make these battles very competitive, that's going to be good for this team right now, who needs some good quality depth. But there was a guy you want to talk about as well, a reliever.
Which one was it?
That's why I put it to you, because I just forgot. We just talked about it like an hour ago.
Tim Mesa, Tanner Rainey.
No. Shoot, there was a
Dennis Santana.
Dennis Santana was the
big
one
Santana?
for today, I believe. Yes.
Okay.
Well, Santana has just looked out of this world good. Last year, he had kind of that Ryan Baraki with him, where he came out, didn't look good. Like, we all poo-pooed it. Hand up, I poo-pooed it. But since then...
Hold on. You've never poo-pooed anything.
I know. People don't believe it when I say that.
You're a super positive individual.
I know. People don't believe me when I say I can be just a touch negative.
You're a nice little podcaster.
I know. I can't wait till Saturday. But back to Dennis Santana. He's been absolutely fantastic. Where he's put himself to me is that if something does happen with a Colin Holderman or maybe a David Bednar or Falters again, you have a Dennis Santana that looks like a dude that can handle the high leverage situations right now. So your 2-headed monster right now looks like a 3-headed monster with Santana.
Yeah, and from a pure stuff standpoint, if you're looking again farther, like deeper into that bullpen, Kyle Nicholas, another guy where that's what you want to see out of Nicholas this year is, can he just harness his command a little bit better, because the stuff is incredible. I mean, it's just nasty. It's just he needs to be more consistent with throwing it in the zone. It doesn't matter where it's at. Like if he can just throw that stuff in the zone, people aren't going to hit it.
Yeah, like Doug said here, 17 pitches, 6 outs so far this spring. You want to talk about
that's impressive.
Efficiency?
Yeah.
Like this guy's getting no work.
That's the game within the game that Ray Series was talking about.
Boom, there it is. How it's all coming full circle. Boom. So yeah, so again, some good stuff. We want to see more offense, but there's still some signs of some things that's happening offensively that's encouraging. The pitching has looked good. Do we want to go into some quotes and some stuff that you two talked with Jared and?
Yeah, let's do it. Well, let's do the Dallas Braden segment. He's kind of the pitching guru. He's got a new show coming out. That's really, if you're a nerd and you like pitching, you're gonna love it. So yeah, let's see what Dallas had to say.
Let's do it.
Dallas, thanks for hopping on for a little bit.
Absolutely, good to see you boys.
Yeah, good to see you too. You're here with the underdog crew, so excited to see you this morning. But yeah, let's just real quick want to talk about just the Pirates off season, the pitching staff in particular. Let's start with Paul Skenes. That's
Sure.
what everybody
Good place to
wants to
start.
talk about, right? I mean, just an outstanding rookie season. You were on with us during his debut. We watched it live together,
Yes,
and
we
you know,
did.
that was pretty exciting.
That was awesome.
But how did you just see him follow up with that? Because he did struggle a little bit at times during that debut, but then, I mean, just an outstanding rookie season.
Yeah, I don't think there's many negatives, even if you looked really hard, to find in what we saw from Paul over the entirety of his season. When you talk about the first outing and maybe dealing with some struggles and being able to right the ship, later in the season, maybe a few bumps, but then very quickly righted the ship. And it's really just a testament to his ability to adjust to a league that has been in existence for over 100 plus years, that has got a pretty good idea of how to adjust like him. It didn't matter. It just simply did not matter. It just took him a brief moment for him to make the adjustments that he wanted to get back to dominating at the level that we had basically been used to all summer long. So when it comes to sort of besting that season from Paul Skenes, I think unfortunately for him, he's in that boat where people will just continue to expect more and more and more, but he's already producing at such an elite level. I almost want to tell folks to temper their expectations, because from where we're at and what you could expect, it's essentially like they're just not allowed to hit the ball. The next level of domination, right? Nobody touches the baseball.
Yeah, so you talk about Paul Skenes there. Obviously, he's a big part of the Pirates being in contention this year. What do you think, as of February 26th here, what has to happen for the Pirates to be in the playoff race this year?
Well, I think they're going to need some productivity from places that they haven't quite gotten what they've expected in years past. You know, and I think that's fair to say. Offensively, I think we are in for a great season, an eye-opening season for Brian Hayes. I think that's something to get excited about. I know the work that he has put in the offseason. There's been a lot of conversations about that in-house. I think it's already physically showed up. So I think you're going to need, as I said, productivity from those places. There's some young guys who have to take O'Neal Cruz, for example. I mean, in the middle of the diamond, right? You're playing a high leverage position. You are so important to this lineup. So you're going to need those guys to start to perform. You're really going to need to see the pitching staff, I think, live up to the expectations. And I think that's a good thing, because there are expectations with this staff, great expectations. And I think if you start to see them perform anywhere near or close to those expectations, you start to see the Pirates' name closer to the top of that division.
Yeah, I'm with you. Like, the Pirates pitching staff, I mean, they're top 10 staff in the league, easy. You could probably argue they're a top 5 staff too. I think a lot of it, hangs on, how does Jerry Jones look his sophomore year too? I think we all know what to expect from Mitch Keller, but newcomer who was just signed last week to Andrew Heaney. I mean, we don't know a whole lot about Andrew Heaney just as Pirates fans, but I mean, what can we expect from Heaney this season?
Well, I think more so for Heaney, what you want to make sure is that he's able to take the baseball, right? It's just a clean bill of health. And it's the veteran stewardship that I think that he can provide, and sort of that veteran presence that he can provide. And it's not to say that he's going to be offering things to these guys that they'll be able to pick up. His game is very different than the game of a Paul Skenes or a Jared Jones or a Mitchie, right? So I think it's really just being able to add another layer of veteran insulation to this rotation. And again, if he has defense working behind him and he's able to stay out of the middle of the zone, this is a guy who can garner weak contact. And if he can utilize the defense behind him, again, he's somebody that I think, as far as whether it's 4 or 5 in the rotation, this is somebody that can help.
Awesome. And you're here with the Baseball is Dead crew.
That's right.
But also you've got a new show coming out. Just let's just kind of tease that. What's the trailer, the elevator pitch for your new show?
The Slab Lab. Slab Lab. The idea is that the art, the craft of pitching is really a marriage between feel and science, and how guys go about preparing themselves to attack a season, to attack an off season. That's really the conversations we're having, whether it's pitch grips, pitch sequencing, things that they're looking for in reading swings, reading a hitter's setup, how they're utilizing data. If they utilize data, what are some of those important data points that they value? Why? So if you're somebody who is, like I am, a baseball addict, a pitching addict, this has been labeled pitching crack. And so please pick up the pipe, if you will, figuratively, but literally download, subscribe, and check us out. Yeah, because, I mean, like you said, I'm out here with the Baseball is Dead crew. We've got some great things going on. The Slab Lab is cooking. So download, subscribe, check us out on YouTube. It's for the folks who are loving pitching.
Yeah, can't wait for it. Obviously, pitching addict myself, pitching Ginza here.
There you go.
But very excited about it. Thanks for hopping on with us. I appreciate it.
Anytime, boys. Anytime. Great to see you. What a great surprise to see you.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was awesome seeing Dallas and them today. And we love Dallas, love talking to him. Pirates fan, you're the one who sent the tweet in our DM. He had the raise it picture. So it was exciting to see that he was there and to talk and catch up with Dallas. But yeah, some encouraging words, like you said about Dallas. You said about Skenes. I mean, like, how do you get better than what he did last year?
Yeah, it's always fun to see Dallas. We've had him on the show a few times. So yeah, woke up this morning. That was a surprise. I was like, oh, Dallas is in town. We're gonna have to meet up with them. So yeah, shout out to Dallas. Thanks for doing that. But Yeah, and you kind of echo just what I've kind of been saying too is his rookie year was so good that you can't really reasonably expect him to put up better numbers than what he did his rookie year. If he does, I mean, that would be incredible. But I mean, he was sub 2 ERA his rookie year. And you're looking for him now to take that step to making, 30, 31, 32 starts. If he's making 32 starts and he's got a sub 2 ERA, we're talking about one of the better seasons of pitchers ever put together. And he's going to run away with the National League Cy Young Award. So, yeah, it's going to be an interesting sophomore season for Skenes. You can already tell that, like, he is trying to get better. Like, he's not just happy with, hey, I've arrived and I'm good. I've arrived, I'm good. I want to continue to get better. I want to be the best ever. Like, the work ethic that he has is incredible. The fact that he's, tinkering more with pitches and manipulating baseballs in ways that only he can. It's incredible because he could have just said, you know what? I'm here and I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. It's working, right? But no, he's trying to figure out ways to continue to get better when he's already been the best pitcher in baseball since his debut.
Jim, and I'll pass it off to you, Tyler. But when we were talking about what do we want to see in spring, when we talked about Paul Skenes, we said nothing. Just stop. Just arrive. Because what do you do to get better? And hey, that's what we're talking about. We know about the work ethic, but it just shows it and proves it again. Like, he came in spring and said, well, this is how I'm going to get better. Here's 2 more pitches. What are we doing? So yeah, Tyler, I mean, you go ahead and go off of that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to doubt the guy ever. He does things that are humanly, at least I would think, before were impossible. I'm going to call it a little bit impossible to get better from his rookie year. Guys, you can't really do that over a full course of a year. Now, that's not to say that he's not going to have a fantastic year and something we've never seen before on a larger scale over the course of 200 innings. But it's probably unfair to assume he's going to have a sub 2 ERA. Now, the positive of it is that I think we expect the rest of the staff to get better as well. You expect A. Jared Jones, hopefully, to probably put together more of a complete season. You want Mitch Keller at some point in one of these years to put together a full season. You have an Andrew Heaney, who Dallas talked about. You have Oviedo, you have Falter that we've talked about Oviedo earlier. We talked about Falter earlier. Like, there are other pieces here in this rotation that Paul Skenes doesn't have to carry the load so heavily. So hopefully that does help the case.
Yeah, I don't know if I've ever felt as good as I do right now about a Pirates rotation. Like, just from a pure depth standpoint, like 1 through 9, like, I feel pretty darn comfortable any given day handing the ball to 1 through 9 on this depth chart. Now, that's not to say that number 8 and number 9 are great pitchers, but it's like, I'm okay with giving them the ball on any given day. So the good piece there is that you're going to need 1 through 9, throughout the course of a 162 game season. Again, it's a lot of steps involved for these pitchers. They can't get through an entire year. You're going to have to use that 8th and 9th starter at some point. But again, we're to the point right now where I'm very comfortable if I need to give the ball to Ashcraft, if I need to give the ball to Harrington, if I need to give the ball to Oviedo, if I need to give the ball to Chandler down the road. Like, all these guys, give them the ball. I'm good with it. Like, we shouldn't have, hopefully, knock on wood, like, we have no more, with all due respect to these guys, like Jake Woodford, Osvaldo Bido, like these types of guys where, like, they're minor league depth options for the most part. They're getting major league starts because, like, you have to start them. The Pirates have 9 guys who are they're major league caliber arms, and you feel comfortable with any 9 of them. You feel more comfortable with others, with some others, but yeah,
Just the irony of what you said. It is kind of funny because Beto did have a nice second half of the year, and MLB chose him as like the A's breakout player this year.
Yeah, no, yeah.
but the sentiment is there, and I understand that's what we talk about too. Like when people are talking about like, why sign Haney and such, it's like, well, you know what, you want some of this depth, you want good depth because you don't have to have a Jake Woodford giving you 5 stars, you don't have to have Domingo Herman there because you're going to need these amount of pitchers to pitch for you likely because injuries do happen, right? But going back to the Skenes thing, I think makes a lot of sense. I mean, yeah, it would be a disservice for us to expect him to do better because what he did last year hasn't been done basically for 100 years plus, right? So like to expect him to get better, it's going to be a disservice. But at the same time, like players get better, don't they? Like it's also not crazy to think like, well, that was your rookie season. You could probably get better. I'm not going to bet against him for getting better. But what I will say is what I think you'll find is like some of the comments here as well. Him getting better might not be the sign of the ERA, right? It might not be, well, you're a 1.98 ERA last year, and this year you're 2.25. You got worse. It was, well, you know what? Last year you went 5 innings. This year you went 7. And so maybe you gave up more runs, right? Your ERA is a little bit higher, but what does that do? Well, that takes out Kyle Nicholas in that situation, right? And you have Skenes in there, right? He shortens up that game for the bullpen, so you're getting right to your dogs. And again, it's not to totally poo-poo on Kyle Nicholas. Well, it was like the one scenario, of course, of this first game we saw what Kyle Nicholas did in that game in Holderman, right? But again, that's what we're talking about. Him being more efficient, Cody, right? The efficiency here, him being more efficient and lasting longer in the game to eliminate some of those middle bullpen arms, right? Together will definitely help out this club. So when you're seeing him get closer to maybe 175, 180 innings pitched, that's what's going to help out this team a lot.
Yeah, I mean, you hit the nail on the head, and he talked about that earlier in spring, where it's not necessarily like I want to get the batter out in 3 pitches. I don't want to strike people out anymore. He's still going to get his strikeouts. It's just starting off 0-1 and then getting to 0-2, right? Instead of going maybe 1-0, 1-1, 2-1, 3-1, 3-2, right? Because again, he's going to get his strikeouts just because his stuff is so good. Like hitters are going to have a hard time putting the ball in play off of him. So really, you just need to win pitches earlier in the count. If the more pitches he can win earlier in the count, the better he's going to set himself up to retire a batter in 4 pitches as opposed to 6 or 7 if he's throwing, ball 1, ball 2.
Yeah, that's the next step. It's really what happened with Garrett Cole whenever he went to Houston, because when he was with the Pirates, he was really good. But you're only expecting to get maybe 5 2/3, 6 innings, 7 innings if you're lucky. You didn't really see Garrett Cole get in the 8th or 9th because of the efficiency issue. So that's the next step here with Paul Skenes. You want to expect him to give you 7 innings more often than not when he gets the ball. And a lot of times you'd like to see him get into the 8th inning as well. So that's probably the next step with him. Again, going back to the ERA, you're not going to improve on a sub-2 ERA. It's just not going to happen, but that's the next step for him. Be more efficient, like you guys said. Department of Efficiency, shout out Cody. Get into the 8th inning every now and then.
For sure. If not the 9th. And he'll want it.
I don't want to ask for that much, but that'd be nice.
But he'll want it. So yeah, and again, that's what's crazy is we talked about the pitching so far, and we haven't even yet seen Paul Skenes pitch. So kudos. So we also had, or I guess before I go any further, anything else you want to add with Paul in Dallas?
No, I think we're good.
All right. So we had Jared here as well. Jared, also a Boston person, right? There's been some trades, been changing to Boston. So hey, definitely got to get on the show here. So let's listen to Jared's here.
Baseball started back up. Maybe wish the offseason had gone a little bit better for the Pirates, but really just want your general thoughts on, where the Pirates ended last year. Paul Skenes, obviously the amazing rookie season, but then what were your expectations that this team was going to do this offseason? How did they live up to those expectations?
I think they fell short, is stating the obvious here. I mean, I think when you look at what the Pirates have been able to build here in terms of homegrown and getting fans excited about the future, any organization looks at something like that, at least from the pitching standpoint side of things, and you say, all right, well, let's build on this. Like, we've got something special here. And stating the obvious, the ability to spend is somewhat limited. So you're not going to be in the Juan Soto sweepstakes, but there is plenty of talent out there that would have been attainable for the Pittsburgh Pirates to be able to say, hey, look, like, we've built something internally here, but we're We're not going to rest on that. This isn't Disney World. We're not in the business of just creating attractions for you to come out to the game and see somebody. We want to get back to the postseason. We want to win a World Series. It's been a long time. So with that, I think the word is urgency. Was there urgency? Like you have a finite window here with Paul Skenes being the ace of the staff, the star attraction. And based on his comments a few months ago at the Fan Fest, he was like, yeah, nothing. Haven't talked about an extension. There's nothing there. So if that's the case, then the price tag is only going to go up. With each year that Skenes completes a major league season, the price tag goes up. Like you're talking about shattering the Yamamoto, Garrett Cole contracts once Skenes becomes a free agent based on the ability, the talent, the body of work, and the age that he'll hit free agency. There's going to be some silly numbers being thrown around. So yeah, it's disappointing when you know that. All right, let's face the facts. We only have X amount of years to win in the Skenes era. Like, let's be as aggressive as we can in that first offseason since he became a big leaguer. And, I love the addition of Tommy Pham. Got to talk to him earlier. I think he's going to really bring a ton to that clubhouse and, hopefully 500 plate appearances. If he makes 500 plate appearances, you're talking about a very good addition to the team. But in terms of going out and adding like a, hey, look at what we did type signing, trade, anything, it just didn't happen.
Yeah, and one of the guys that they brought in last year, former Red Sox Nick York. You probably got to see him a good bit. What's your opinion here on Nick York?
I love Nick York. I was bummed. I mean, I got to interview Quinn Priester, so I like him now too. He seems like he's very mature and knows what he wants to be as a major league pitcher. But Nick York works hard, can hit for average, can hit for power. You look at the numbers throughout his minor league career, and he's almost hitting 300. The OPS is around 800. He can steal bags. He can hit homers. He can hit doubles. He's a complete player, and I think it's a bummer for us in Boston because it was like you've got 3 top 10 MLB prospects, and Nick York being a former first rounder himself. I was excited to see that whole group come up together, but again, it's tough in Boston. Like they're going to go out and sign the Alex Bregmans of the world and extend the Rafael Devers of the world. So there's only so many spots for all these guys. So he kind of became the odd man out. I'm excited to see what Quinn Priester can do. I think he's going to probably be either the first or the second starting pitching depth option for Boston this year. So that's cool that he was able to, even though he didn't have a spot on the big league roster, Nick York, that he was still able to yield a return that was exciting. So, but I'm rooting for him. I mean, the second that, the deal went down, I reached out and I was like, man, I'm still going to be following you in your career and rooting for you. And, he's one of those guys, a lot of the Red Sox prospects are one of those guys that super nice, polite, humble. Like I've come across I won't name any names. I've come across some first round, big money, bonus baby talent that they think that, it's Hall of Fame. Like they haven't even made their debut yet, and they're talking about their Hall of Fame speeches. But Nick York, he's a grinder, and I'm excited for you guys to be able to see what he can do.
Yeah, we're certainly looking forward to him, and same with Priester. I mean, first round pick for us in 2019, and you saw him kind of come through the minors. You had big expectations of him, so yeah, we hope he turns out great for you guys too. Hopefully, it's a win-win trade for both sides.
That'd be great.
If you're a baseball fan, definitely make sure you check out Jared's podcast. Where can everybody find your stuff?
We're everywhere that you can get podcasts. I think like our YouTube channel is a little bit tricky to find because Baseball is Dead and Section 10 are on the same page, but it's just like if you search Jared Carrabis Underdog, it should pop up. But if you prefer your podcast on YouTube, we're there. We have a bunch of video content outside the podcast that we're excited about. Dallas just launched Slab Lab. I don't know. He probably was yapping about that.
Yep.
That he's going to be doing something with Skenes today, so I'm excited to see what comes from that.
Good stuff. Hey, appreciate you hopping on.
Thanks for having me.
All right, thanks.
Yeah, Dallas is definitely yapping about that. But yeah, so again, Jared coming on from Boston. There's a good perspective hearing about, Nick York, that trade and such. I mean, he did really like Nick York. He brought some good points. So we liked the trade at the time as well. Unproven talent, but this could be a big opportunity for him this spring to show something. Again, that's certainly some competition for him to make this team. But yeah, Jared seems to really like him.
Yeah, I think what Jared said, like Nick York has just done nothing but hit the baseball since being a pro. He's done it at every level, and he's gotten better at it the closer he's gotten to the major. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how the rest of the spring plays out for him. He got to start at first base today in the away game at Atlanta. A little shaky there. I think he dropped the pop up, threw a ball in the outfield. So not the greatest first base debut for Nick York, but it's a long spring. Surely Nick York is going to contribute this some capacity. It's just going to be interesting to see what he does and how he does it.
Yeah, I just say it's notable that it seems like everybody we've talked to who is either a Boston fan or covers the Red Sox, nothing but positive things to say about Nick York, the bat to ball skills, the hit tool. Everyone seems to like him a lot, and they liked him a lot as a prospect. So we'll see how it all shakes out. Right now, everything we've heard has been positive about him.
Yeah, for sure. So anything else you want to add? Jared talked about?
No, it was really cool seeing those guys today. Got to talk to them for a little bit before they went on the air. They talked to Paul Skenes today. They talked to Jared Jones. They talked to Mitch Keller. They talked to Andrew McCutcheon.
Talked to everybody.
They talked to pretty much everybody. So if you want to check them out for sure, definitely like after we're done here, hop over there and see their conversations with the Pirates.
Yep. Cool. So I told you guys there was a reason to hold off on this. Here he is. Here's Penn asking about Gorski. So we knew he was going to come here, so I held off on talking about Gorski. Now's the time. So let's talk about this first base battle because, again, we knew it was going to be something. Before we talk about the battle, let's talk about the news that came about today about Horowitz. Ty. Horowitz going to be swinging with two hands here this week. So, the timeline was 6 to 8 weeks. We know that was, of course, when the surgery happened, right? So everything has been talked about, like it's probably going to be like early, mid-April, late April, something like that. Encouraging news that he'll be swinging with two hands here.
Yeah, I think that was Noah that reported that news. But just being on the timeline that we were originally given, that seems like it's good news to this point. Hopefully we get him back sooner than later. Don't want to speculate yet, but things do seem like they're positively progressing.
Yeah, I mean, up to this point, he had been able to take swings. He had been able to do some running drills, some fielding drills, I think even. But yeah, two-handed swings starting later this week. So yeah, hopefully, again, the Pirates are going to need Spencer Horwitz to be a heavy contributor to this year's team in order for them to be successful. He's a bat that they're going to rely on. If you look at the projection models, Spencer Horwitz is this team's #1 bat. As much as we love O'Neal Cruz and Brian Reynolds, like Zips and Steamer and all those guys, like they like Spencer Horwitz better when it comes to their just overall numbers. So yeah, they're going to need him healthy and they're going to need him producing. So yeah, hopefully he makes a quick and speedy full recovery.
Yeah,
Zips and Steamer have nothing on Matt Gorski.
Hey, you're right. I was actually looking. So with Matt Gorski, Zips projects Gorski for 15 home runs in the majors this year if you give him like roughly 400 plate appearances. So Zips recognizes the power's there, and guess what? The power is there. This is a guy he's also a very athletic individual. He can play first, he can play center, he can play left, he can play right. He's 27 years old. I don't know how this guy hasn't gotten a shot yet, to be honest with you, just based off of how bad this offense was last year and how much they needed an outfielder. I mean, the Pirates let Edward Olivares and Brian De La Cruz put up like -2.5 WAR in right field, and they never even checked what Matt Gorski could do. So that kind of lends me to believe that the Pirates don't believe all that much in Matt Gorski. But if that's the case, Matt Gorski is doing everything within his power to make sure that they recognize who he is and what he is doing. He had his 3rd home run of the spring today. He had another sacrifice fly today. He has 9 RBIs so far on the spring. He leads all Pirates in that. 2 good at bats today. The sacrifice fly was very impressive. I mean, he just knew he had to get the ball in play. He hit the ball hard, 2 barrels. I mean, that ball was crushed today. The sacrifice fly. I mean, it almost got out. He gave it a ride. And the home run too, opposite field. Like he was showing off his power today, and that's been his calling card: power and speed. The issue has been the hit tool, right? Having just too many strikeouts. he's someone who I think if you gave him a bunch of major league at bats, he would hit the ball over the fence from time to time. The problem is, can he get on base enough and can he hit the ball enough to be a valuable player? I think with the way just that he profiles, he's gonna have to slug like 500 to be a productive major leaguer, because that on base percentage probably isn't getting above 300. Like that's kind of where we're at with Gorski, because his average is going to be like 210. And when you're hitting 210 and you got an OBP at 290 and you play first base, like you got to slug 500. And that's tough to do. He's done it in AAA, but he's got to do it in the majors, and he might be given the opportunity for a couple weeks.
Yeah, we're slugging like 2,000 right now. So, but here's the thing, like perspective. And I know, like, I mean, in jest, I was like, I've seen all I need to see, right? Gorski's going to make them trade Horowitz. That's how good he's playing. But again, like slow down. This is the first week. This is a handful of plate appearance. We know the guy can put the ball over the fence, especially in Bradenton, right? But like, what's the body of work? And you're right. I mean, this is a guy who they have passed over time and time again. And we were at the point last year, like, why not play him? We know he can play defensively. Like, that's the thing too. Like, if they're not able to do something, are they able to provide value somewhere else, right? And like Gorski can absolutely provide you value defensively, and that's where this team really needed some help last year as well. And they still passed over him. And here's the thing too, like, it's not like a bunch of clubs are pounding the table for him as well, you know. So he's on the outside looking in also. But like you said, he's doing everything he can. There is a possibility he could, but like, let's tie this all back together, right? The good news is Horowitz is going to be swinging with two hands end of this week. You know, all signs are pointing this is going to have to be just a temporary small little fix, right? So here's the other thing too. Are you putting him on the 40-man? How many options does he have, actually?
I mean, he's on the 40-man. So once you put him on the 40-man, he'll have 3 options.
Okay. So I guess that there's that possibility. But anyways, this is a small fix. So like, are you just going to put him on the 40-man? Are you going to keep someone else's on the 40-man right now? Just to provide that small little fix for those 2 weeks that you might need him for. But either way, like I said, like Gorski's, he's doing what we know he can do, right? Can he do other things that's going to provide some value? Where other guys like DJ Stewart has proven that he can do to some level. Yes, DJ Stewart. Yes, but DJ Stewart has done it at MLB level to some degree as well. But this first base battle, it's going to be temporary, but so far it's heated.
It is, and to tie it back to the first base battle here, you mentioned the short period of time that we're probably going to have to see this fix. That's why I lean Gorski, I think, because the upside that he can provide over a long period of time, do I believe in him? Probably not. But he's a guy that I think can carry you for a week or two if he's just able to get hot. DJ Stewart, to me, is a guy that you could go 2 months and it's just really ugly. Gorski, somehow for 2 weeks, he could do what he's doing right now in the spring, where he has 3 home runs in a couple days and he just drove you in 2 wins. So I understand not everybody might not believe the same thing there. They might want to go with the safer option and Stewart, just get through that time period. This team's going to need offense. I'll take the guy that might provide lightning in a bottle for a short period of time. That's why I would go Gorski personally.
I'll say this: no matter who they choose, it's going to be better than Rowdy.
True.
like the April and May Rowdy, you can't really get worse than that. So it's going to be an upgrade over last season.
Yeah. I mean, there's very, very good possibility of that. I just kind of feel bad. So Ben apparently bought a Gorski City Connect jersey today, so he's all in on Gorski. He is all in.
All in with the $17.50. There you go, Ben. No, hey, I'm rooting for the guy. He's been in the organization forever. He's produced at every level. Like I said, I wish they would have given him a chance earlier on. I mean, when this team was playing for nothing for multiple years now, and Matt Gorski was never given a shot.
Is there potential here that Matt Haig sees himself in a Matt Gorski? Similar career paths.
I don't know if Gorski's really the hit collector, but
both kind of
they have a tool they are good at.
Yeah, guys where not highly regarded as prospects, but still put up numbers, you know, throughout the minors. And yeah, Haig got a cup of coffee. Might be time for Gorski's cup.
How about that?
There we go. We settled it. Matt Gorski, opening day first baseman. You heard it here first.
The good news is we've got a month to figure this out still.
Nope, decided now.
So it's still very early. But so far, I mean, you got to like what you see out of both Gorski and DJ Stewart. Like both of them have performed really well. And again, you'd rather be in a situation where you're choosing between two guys who are hitting as opposed to nobody who's hitting. And both of those guys have they've had a good first week.
Yeah, so far.
Yeah.
So again, there's the battle for first base. It's certainly a heated one at this point in time. Plenty of options, but of course, the better news is it does sound very temporary until Horwitz can come back and start filling that position again. So with that being said, anything else that we want to touch and talk on today on this NS9 live from Bradenton?
No, let's get out of here. Apparently, the neighbors yelled at us
Snitches.
because we had the lights on too late the other night, and so we got an angry.
Too
email.
late is we've had them on for 48 straight hours.
So apparently we're supposed to turn the lights off at night.
It's dumb.
Maybe the person who booked the Airbnb should have known this, but we've kept them on. We got an email telling us, hey, turn the lights off. So I guess we'll be good house guests.
I guess. But I'm just saying, the person that booked this read it and says quiet hours, and I never heard a light scream.
It's a really good point.
So I'm just saying. But now we have an actual like spotlight up there. So,
Yeah. Maybe we'll just do we can finish the show in the dark.
go ahead, producer. All right. But no, honestly, we appreciate you guys.
You know what? This actually looks good. Like I'm looking at us on the screen. It's a good vibe. I'm sensing like rustic cabin vibes.
Oh, like that Photoshop picture.
Yeah.
Well, let's actually get out of here. It's been an hour. You guys listen to us talk this whole time. We, of course, will have an off day tomorrow. Well needed for multiple reasons. But we'll be back on Friday. The pregame show. We'll have another wrap up. And then Saturday, we're back home. We're on the way out of here. So it's been great so far. Tune in. And if you haven't done so already, go ahead and make sure you subscribe. Join if you want. Our emojis are coming back. Games are coming back. The sandwiches, right? The NS9 post-game shows sponsored by Manny Brothers will be coming back. So baseball season is back. I'm excited.
Spring training for us too.
Thanks, Rob.
Thanks, Rob. Thanks for the 5 free memberships.
You're the man,
No,
Rob.
thanks guys for watching. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. We appreciate you guys. Off day tomorrow. So unless there's like a trade or something that happens that requires an emergency podcast, we're off tomorrow.
Yeah, leave us alone.
Yeah, please, Ben, like of all days, this is the one time I'm asking you not to do anything. Please. Thank you, Ben. Appreciate it. We'll see you guys on Friday. Bye-bye.
Peace out, Scouts.
See you guys. All right, that wraps up this episode of North Shore 9. Thanks so much for tuning in. Whether you're listening on the podcast or catching us on YouTube, if you enjoyed the show, please give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. It really helps us grow. And if you're listening on the podcast, a quick review goes a long way in helping others find the show. Plus, be sure to tell a friend about us. There's always room for more here in the NS9 community. And for those looking to support us a little more, consider joining our Patreon, become an MVP member, and get exclusive perks while helping us continue to bring you more of the Pirates content you love. Thanks again for all your support, and let's go Bucks.